welcome to this stream today. And in this stream here, I want to teach you how to create an escrow smart contract in Solidity. Okay, this particular one is a little bit, complicated to an extent, but trust me, once you understand this, then you can do whatever you want in Solidity with this logic that I'm about to unleash upon you today. So get ready, sit down, and get ready to do some coding with me. So if you're pumped as I am, hit that like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell as well, because we're about to get dappy right now. All right, welcome to this stream today. As always, this is Covenant and I. And in this stream today, we want to actually show you how to code an escrow smart contract. Okay, escrow smart contracts are very important when it comes to transacting business dealings between two people, the buyer and the seller, that don't have any trust gap. They don't have anything to serve as a basis of trust. So they have to trust an escrow platform to deliver the product that the buyer requested from the seller. And once the buyer receives it, the seller is credited with his the costs that it takes to sell that item. So that is what we want to do today in brief. So if you're ready, let's get started. So now, if you're following this tutorial, please make sure that you are actually using the Remix ID, because this is just for collaborative reasons. If not, I will use the Remix ID. So I'll also come back later to test it out so that you will be able to flow with me all the way. So with that said, let's get started. So as before, as always, we'll create a new smart contract, and let's call this one escrow.so. All right, can you access that file, Covenant? Okay, so what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and copy some of the things that I've already done before to make the process a lot faster. I'm going to change it to escrow. So you get all the way to here. This is how a Solidity file is actually used. Set up. This is the body of a smart contract. This is the name of the smart contract. This is where all the smart contract logic goes in. This is a compiler version that is qualified to compile this smart contract. This is the license identifier here. So these are just the basic information that we'll be using in the subsequent videos we'll be making. Hope you get that right. Did you get that? All right, thank you very much. So now there's one extra layer of information I want to bring into this mix today. I want to import a library from the Open Zeppelin that will enable us to do some pretty cool things. For example, there's an attack on smart contract called reentrancy, where basically the attacker continually bombards a certain function of a smart contract that is responsible for making withdrawals or making payments, like collecting money from the smart contract. So if that particular attacker can bombard the smart contract, several times, he might be able to just, withdraw more than he was supposed to withdraw, and actually just drain our smart contract of all the funds that are inside of it. For that not to happen, there is a thing called reentrancy guard in Open Zeppelin that enables you to limit this sort of attacks from zapping out your money from your smart contract. So I'm going to import that library now, and this is how you import it, libraries in Solidity. You say import, all right, and then in string you say this is Open Zeppelin, so at Open Zeppelin slash contract slash security slash reentrancy guard dot solidity. So this is a file we are importing this file from this location. All right, so This is what it basically means by that. Open Zeppelin is where the smart contract lives. So we're looking at this directory, security directory, and then we're getting this reentrancy guard.solidity. Did you get that? All right. So now with this, you can now make it inherit the properties of this reentrancy guard, which is actually a smart contract on its own. You can inherit it into your Escrow smart contract by just saying is, and then you paste your what? Is what? Reentrancy. You understand? Is reentrancy guard. So this your smart contract has properties of what? The reentrancy guard. That is just what it means. Did you get that? Did you get that? Okay, so let's create some variables that are going to be essential for these tutorials. These variables will determine the state of this Escrow smart contract. For example, we want to create an address variable. This is going to be public, of course. Okay, and this is going to be called esc account. So basically, this is Escrow account, like a platform. This is the platform's account. This is the account where all the money that is flowing into the smart contract is going to live. Okay, like this is the account number. You understand that? Which is the Ethereum wallet address. All right. So with that said, now this is what the Escrow account. This is where the authorized account that is that the Escrow system has, so it can do some administrative activities. All right, so that is what it does. So we also need another. This one is going to be called an unsigned integer, of course, and we call it the escrow balance. So this is going to hold the amount of money that we have in this escrow system. Okay, that is the total amount of money. Then this is going to hold the available balance, this is holding everybody's money, but this is going to hold like the amount of money that we have, like all the taxations that we did in each purchases that was made through this escrow system. So this is going to hold our money. So if we want to withdraw money for ourselves, or as the platform we want to withdraw some money, we can only withdraw the amount of money that is here. The rest here is actually for business purposes. You get that? Yeah. So this one here is going to be called the escrow fee. So this is like the amount of the percentage that will cut out for each business that is conducted successfully in this platform. All right, so we're going to have 3 other, like this is going to be called total items, and this is going to be called total confirmed. So total items are going to be like total businesses that has been done on the platform, or that is actually ongoing on the platform. Then total confirmed is like all the like the total number of payments that has been successfully transacted in this platform. Okay, and then this is what total disputed. So this we hold information about the total amount of disputes that has been done on this platform. Do you get all that? For example, what I mean by total disputed, like let's say a business did not sail through because of there is a complaint between, let me say, the buyer and the seller. Okay, and then that become a dispute, and then the money of the buyer can then be refunded to him. Did you get that? So in cases such as this, it is termed as what? A dispute. Okay. All right. So the next thing you want to do is what called mapping. I want to map some structures together here. The first structure I want to map is for every unsigned integer. I want to map, want to map it to something called item struct. Okay, we want to create a structure called item struct, and it's going to be private. So by default, everything is private, so I don't need to write that. So this is items. So this is going to hold all the items or all the businesses, all the merchandise, everything that has been transacted, that is being transacted or has been transacted in this platform. So for example, if Dennis from Australia wants to buy cocoa pod from Chigozie in Nigeria, okay, that is an item here. So once that business, that particular transaction is added into our smart contract, that becomes an escrow item. Is now in the escrow system. You understand that? So that is the idea behind this thing right here. Okay, so with that, we can now move on and say, I want to also create another one called this is called items of. Okay, items of is gonna carry an array. So basically, items of is saying that I want to know if I posted a business deal in here, that a request for a seller to supply me an item. Okay, this is where it's going to be captured. All right, as that is mine. You as a seller, what I mean by that, you as a seller, okay, you are posting an item here. Okay, that is what that item belongs to you. So if I want to check for items of, I pass in my address, it's going to bring out all the items that I have in this platform. You get that? Okay, great. So the next thing you want to do is another mapping. Okay, this mapping is like a multi-layer mapping. It's not just one mapping, but it's like a two-dimensional mapping. So I've not introduced that to you, but this is how it works. So this mapping is actually going to be public. Let's call it public. And the name of this mapping is called requested. Requested. So these are, let's say a buyer wants to place a request, want to buy buy an item from a seller. So by you placing that request, that item is going to be put inside of this mapping. That is what it means. Yeah. So requested, is by the address of the person requesting, and then not just that, we also pass in another mapping here. Okay, and inside this mapping, you're saying unsigned integer, and so for this this is the address of the person requesting, and this unsigned integer is actually the item's number, the item number that you're actually requesting for. You understand? And then if you actually requested for that, it's going to be true or false, or not if you're not requested for that. Hope you get that. Yeah. You can nest mapping functions. Okay, so what it means is that this is your this will contain information about every items you as a buyer wants to purchase. Did you get that? So it's called requested. So for example, if I requested for item number 1, it's going to be true or false. If I did not request for it, it's going to be false. If I requested for it, it's going to be true under my account. You understand that? So when I check my account, I'll be able to know if I requested for this item or I did not request for this item. Yeah, great. So another mapping that you want to do is, I want to say that for every, this is going to be address. Okay, this owner of. So what it means that each item, once I pass an item ID, it will tell me who the owner is. Okay, that is what this thing means. Yeah. So, and lastly, for this mapping, I want to also know there is a struct that I'm going to do later, which is called available. Okay, and this is going to be, this is just going to return, the availability state, is available. The availability state of an item that is passing through the escrow system. So if that item is still available or not. Did you understand? Like, for example, if on an e-commerce platform I posted an African bitter cola there. So, and then let's say for me to actually request for that African bitter cola, I want to know if it's still available on that platform. If another buyer hasn't already purchased it or requested for it. Did you get that? So for doing that, I'll say this particular thing available is an enum. I've not introduced it to an enum, but I've introduced it to struct. Enums are like is like a complex data structure, just like the struct as well. What it does is to order items for you from something like ascending, descend in a descending order. What I mean by that is this. Okay, I say enum. This is how you describe it. Enum available can either be what? No, or what? Yes. Did you get this? Do you understand? This no now, this particular no is actually 0, and this yes is what? 1. So for example, if I place another one like maybe, you understand? This maybe now, you understand, is 3, is 2. So it starts numbering things from 0, 1, 2, and to infinity as many items are you going to put inside here. Do you understand it? So for here, we only need no and yes. So this available is going to tell us if an item is available or not. So now with this enum that we've created, we are now using it here as a data type. Whenever we pass in mapping, whenever we pass an item's ID, it's going to tell us whether that item is available or not. Okay. The reason why I did it this way so that you can also appreciate the usage of enum in your programming or in Solidity. So the next thing I want to do is to create another enum called status. Okay, this is going to contain more data. So for example, an item in escrow and the escrow can have the following status. Like an item could be open whenever somebody add new item idea for people to purchase. It could be open. And when a person purchases or requests for a particular item in the escrow, it goes from open. The status of that item goes from open to what? Pending. You understand that? And if the person, if this item now has gone into the process of is on delivery, let me say the delivery man has now taken, like the logistic team is now delivering the item to the buyer. Want this status of this item to go from what? From pending to what? Delivery. And after delivery, want it to what? Go, if it is delivered, then want it to be called confirmed. All right. So if there is a problem in this delivery process, it can go into what? Another status called disputed. All right. And if this item was disputed, it will go into the next phase called what? Refunded. Okay. And then lastly, lastly, before you ask a question, lastly, the last status that an item in the escrow can go through is called the withdrawal state. Withdrawn. You understand? This withdrawal is is actually saying that, okay, this item is not gonna it's no longer gonna be here. We are removing it from what the start the this thing the flow, the process of it flowing. So it's no longer going to be available for people to use it. It's either it could be if this process has been confirmed and everything, and then the seller have received this amount of money and the buyer has received the product that he ordered for. So that becomes like a withdrawal. Yeah, please go on, ask your question. Not really. Not really. The convention doesn't really limit you in any way. You can actually take these things to the first part of the smart contract like this. You understand that? Yeah. So some people like putting it this way, which is pretty cool because it shows an order or a flow which this thing is being used. Like this status, this available is actually being used underneath here. But this is not really so important. Why? Because this is an object-oriented word programming, so it's not going to really affect the process much. Yeah. So now the next thing we want to create another structure. We can put it here. Let's call this struct. Okay, this struct, we call it item struct, which is what we used here, right? So we are trying to define that item struct here now. So we say unsigned integer item ID. So an item must have an ID, right? So that is item ID. An item has a purpose string. So this is the purpose of this particular we're saying this is the purpose of this particular what item. So the purpose is more like a description of what this particular item. Do you flow that? For example, let's say we got ginger as the item. The purpose of this ginger is to what? No. I'm getting this wrong. Let's say this is an item. Somebody tried to what? Purchase ginger. So the purpose of this particular item is to what? Sell certain ginger to this person, like let's say Alfred living in Germany. That is the purpose of this particular what? Escrow transaction. Okay? So an item must also have what? Amount. This is amount that that this item is being sold for. An item must have what? A timestamp. Okay, this was the time that it was actually created. An item must have an owner. So an owner is an address type. So who owned this item or who posted this item? That is what it must have. An item must have a status. All right. So let's say the data type is actually status, but the variable is status as well. But what it means by that, this status is what? Is an item would actually be open, pending, delivery, confirmed, disputed. That's just what this thing means here. Okay. Yes, the enum status. All right. So now we also need this is the owner, right? And there is also okay, let's leave that for now. Now the next thing we want to put in here is called a boolean value called provided. Provided means that okay, this particular items has actually been sold, the transaction has been done, the service of providing this item has been made already. Okay, and then lastly we have this one called confirmed. Okay, so basically when the buyer receives the item, he can just check this confirm button and it will become true. Okay, so with that said, the next thing I need to do now is to create some event before we normally create an event, for various action, but I want to create a dynamic event this time, and this event could serve multiple purposes. For example, okay, let me just show you. This is how you create these events. Call it action, and this action must have an ID. Okay, that is the item ID. It must have, this is action type. So the action type could be something like, let's say somebody just purchased an item. The type of action that this person just purchases, that this person just triggered, is called what? Purchased. You understand that? If somebody actually posted an item in this platform, and wanting a buyer to buy it, the action type that you just did could be called listed. You understand? So that is just what it is. And then the status of this item, okay, we'll just call it status. And hold on, make sure that this thing is comma. And then lastly, we have the address, which is, that we call this executor. What this means is that this Escrow guys, whomever perform this particular action is going to become the executor. That is just what it simply means. All right, if you understand, can you just give me a signal that? All right, so whomever actually perform this action become what? The executor of that action. That is what it simply means. And I'm just putting an index key right there on it. So with that done, I want to create the constructor. So call it constructor function. All right, this constructor function is going to take in the purpose. So for example, if you're going to be creating if you're going to be adding an item into this particular platform, the item must what? Have a purpose. What is the purpose of this item? Okay, so that is what it means. Sorry, I'm actually doing this wrongly. So are you with me there? Hello? Okay, so this is not what I mean. I was actually doing a different thing. So we want to establish at deployment time, we want to establish the fee that will be charging per every successful transaction that has been made in this platform. And how you do that is just to pass this thing called uint, and then you say that is escrow fee. Okay, so with this now, all you need to do, the escrow account, once it is deployed, it's going to become the msg.sender. Okay, that will be the account, the escrow account, and then the escrow fee is going to become whatever you passed as a parameter to read. So this is the whatever. If for example, if you are saying 7% here, so 7% will become what? The escrow fee. All right, that is what it simply means. So all right, go on. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Remember I told you that why we always put this msg.sender is for reasons when we want to make the deployer of this smart contract, the owner, or we want to give it a special power in the smart contract, special authority. So for example, whenever I'm deploying this smart contract, at that time that I'm deploying it, I want whomever deployed it to become what? The escrow account. Or if I want to give this smart contract has an owner. I want whomever deployed it at that time of deployment, that person should become what? The owner. That's why we're putting this thing right here. You get that? All right, fantastic. Constructor. Oh, constructor. That's fantastic observation. We missed an S there. Okay, so great. They will all show up when we start testing them if there are any errors. So you stick around for the testing time so that you see how all these things they come up together. So the next thing I want to do now is called what? It's a function. I want to create a function called function. Call it create item. Okay, so and then you have a string, call it purpose. All right, and this thing is actually stored in a place, let's call it memory. Okay, so this is the purpose of this item that you're actually creating. That's just what it simply means. All right, so now of course before we proceed, we want to make sure that these for you to create an item in the platform, it must be payable. Okay. Okay. No. We're not making it payable. We're not making it payable. We want to be paid only at the time when a buyer is actually have received this item successfully. When it is delivered successfully, that is when we need to be paid. So the next thing I need to do now is call it public. All right, because this function must be public before it can be accessed by people, and returns a Boolean value on completion. Okay, so those are the parameters around it. So first thing first, we want to make sure that this function requires that the purpose is not empty. So how we do, we say byte dot what purpose dot length is greater than what 0. Otherwise you should complain that what purpose cannot cannot be empty. Fantastic. All right, another thing that that is just one of the requirements that we're going to be doing for creating an item in the platform. All right, so now next thing I want to do is to create a new item. All right, so create a new item right here. So we say on assign integer item ID is equal to this total items. You remember this total items here? Where is it? Here, total items that bears record of the total number of items that we have in the platform. So the item ID is going to be like the current total items, because this total item could range from 1, 2, 3, 4. If I have about 100 items on the platform, I want this ID at that time to become what 100. Okay, but I also want to increment it immediately. I assign this. If it is 100, I assign it to this ID. I want this total item now to increment by 1 as well, so it becomes 101. Why I actually go ahead and implement the rest of the smart contract. Okay, so this item struct, want to create this item right now. We say item struct is equal, want to keep it in a place called the storage. No, want to put it in a place called the storage. All right, and the storage is just like the memory. Remember this thing. storage and memory, they are kind of the same thing, but storage keeps things permanently on the blockchain, while memory keep things temporary on the blockchain. You understand that? So this space called item, and I want to define items here and say this item has what? Items ID. This item ID I just created right now. Item ID is, this is what I'm defining it. So this position, I'm actually defining it, and I'm putting it into this item here because I want to create some really cool stuff inside of it. So this item, now what I'm saying, this item is going to be like an instance of this information. Yeah, this item struct that has item ID, purpose, amount, owner, and all those things. So I want to start assigning information into these items right now. So I just created a location for it, and then I'm going to populate it with value. So for example, this item dot item ID must be equal to what? This item ID, that I just created above here. So this item dot purpose is equal to the what? Purpose that we are actually collecting from this place, from the parameter here. So we are passing that purpose into this purpose item purpose here, and all these things are going to make a lot of sense when you see us actually performing some testing on it, and then you see how all these things actually made sense at the end of the day. Okay, so now we say item dot amount. The amount is going to be we're going to pass an amount here. So the amount that we're passing, we're going to call it unsigned integer amount. All right, so we are passing in this amount into this place. So we're going to collect it from whenever we are creating the item. We're going to just pass the amount into this place here. And before we proceed, let's put some requirements on this amount. We want to make sure that the amount is okay. No, we don't need to do that. The amount cannot be 0. Sorry, amount is greater than what? 0. Okay, that's just what we want. So if we say amount cannot be 0. Okay, so now we are this particular item that we're creating has an amount, and this amount is the amount that the buyer will have to buy this item that we're posting. So we have another thing called item dot timestamp, which is actually what? Block dot timestamp. We have another one called owner. So we say item dot owner. Okay, and we say msg dot owner. So msg dot sender will become what? The owner. So the person that is creating this particular item or is posting this item becomes the owner of it. That is what this simply means. And then lastly, we have an item dot status. Okay, the status is going to be this status enum dot what? Open. All right, so we are giving it a status of what? Open. Do you understand this? So, but because the status open is the very first one, by default, it's gonna be what? Open, even though we did not what? Include it here. So we can decide to remove it here, and that place is always gonna be what? Open by default. You get that? So now we want to give items of this person that is creating this particular item. Want to give it, so we're saying msg.sender want to put it into his account that okay, he's the one that owns this thing. So we just do .push. All right, we're pushing this item that we've been creating. This item here that we've been creating, we're just going to push his item inside of what? His item collection. You got that? So, and after we do that, I want to say owner of the owner of this item. So I could say item ID, which is this current item, is equal to what? msg.sender. msg.sender. And you can see that here when we were defining this owner of this uint, owner of this particular item is called to what? An address. So we want to pass the owner of this item, we want to what? Make it this person that is creating this item. That is what it means. Are you with me here? Okay. So, and then we're saying that is available, okay, which is another mapping, is available. Is this item that we just finished creating, is it available? We are saying what? Yes, available dot yes. Okay, you know that available is either yes or no. So we are actually giving it that the availability is what? Yes. Okay. So after a person purchased this item, the availability will become what? No. That is what we want to do. Okay, and then and after this is created, the next thing we want to do is what? We want to emit an event. So this is the event we are emitting. Okay, so we are emitting this particular event, and the item ID, of course, is going to remain as it is. Item ID. The action type will be something like item. Let me just give capital letter. Item created. You understand? The status will be status dot open. Okay, and the address of the executor is msg.sender. So this is the person that actually created this. All right, so please take a look at this. We need to remove that here. So now the last thing I just need to do for this function is to say return true. That means it finished executing successfully. All right, so now we can create item in our platform. We also want to be able to get the items that we are creating, like get them all. So we say function, create a function called get items. Okay, and of course it's going to be public, and this is going to be view because I want to see it. Returns view returns, and then you pass in item struct. This item struct is going to be an array of it, okay, and it's going to be stored in the memory temporarily. It's going to be stored in the memory, and I want it to return something for me. I'm going to just put a little trick. Normally I would just stop here, but I could say I want it to return all these items for me under the name called props. Do you understand this thing? So whatever it's going to be returning is going to be called what? Props. That is what it means. Okay, don't worry. I will show you. Let me just show you how it works here. Don't understand? Let me show you how it works. Now here, remember in this place we actually return what? Boolean. We are actually returning an array of item struct, but this time we are giving it an alias, like a nickname. Those array of item struct, we are giving it a nickname of what? Props. Yeah. So now this nickname of props is equal to a new item struct, because we want to define it to be a type of what? Item struct. All right, and is an array, of course, and the size the size of this array, we can actually define a size of an array so that, for example, so that it will not exceed the amount that we want. So we just define it as a size of an array. This may not make much sense to you, but just focus more on what its functionality. The whole idea is to retrieve all the items that we are creating in this platform. So you can say total items. Total items is going to return total number of items that I have in this platform. So that will become the size of the array, the props array. Okay, so now I'm going to loop through this thing. This is called a for loop. All right, so I'm going to loop through the entire items that we have in this platform, and I'm going to retrieve all of them for you. That is what it simply means here. Are you with me? It's becoming complex. Don't worry, this is going to be really simple. You're going to see it in action. So unsigned integer I is equal to what? 0. So this is how you create a for loop structure. Start with 0, and this is what? The condition. So long as I is still less than what? The total number of what? Items. What we want is to what? To continually increment I by I++. So now what we just want to do is to say props, okay, the index, an index there, that is, we're going to assign it for every index in what? This, for every index in this size of props that we have, okay, we want to what? Assign it a member of what? That items, which is just I. Basically, this is just this function. This is just the entire function of getting all these things. Okay, this is one method of getting it, okay? There is another method which I could use, but how I've designed this thing is in this method. And I think I designed this particular smart contract a little while ago. Now I will not use this method to do this thing, but it is also cool for you to know that you can actually use some techniques such as this to retrieve stuff from your smart contract. So with that done, I want to get one item in particular. Like this gets all the items that you have in your smart contract, but now I want to get just one item that we have in the Escrow smart contract. So by doing that, I say get item. Okay, this one is get items. This one is get item. All right, and for me to get item, all I just need to pass the item ID, and then you say public view returns, and what is it returning? Item struct, and memory, of course. But this time around, are you with me? This time around, it's not going to be an array, so it's only returning just one item because what you are querying for is just one item by an ID. So take note of that. So all you just need to return item, and then you get the index of it. So once you query this, it's going to return the item at this particular index. That is what this thing means. This is the entire function for this one, to get a single item. All right, and then we have another function called my items. So this one gets all your items that you yourself posted. Okay, so you can say public view return, and of course it's just gonna be like it's just gonna be like this one. Let me just duplicate this. Okay, call it my items, and it doesn't need a parameter. Okay, and of course it's going to be an array of it. And this, instead of getting from items, going to get it items of this particular person that is querying it, which is msg.sender. So it's going to return all the items of this particular person that is what requesting for an item. You understand? So quickly, let's jump in. The next thing we want to do is to what? Create a function, a different function. This function is called requested item. No, request item. So let's say I want request item, and let's say this is an unsigned integer. It's going to bear the item ID. Okay, so I want to request item. What I meant by that, I want to like buy an item. Okay, I want to request for someone to get me an Italian suit. So the seller, I'm requesting, the item from the seller. Okay, so that is what I'm trying to create here. So it's going to be public, of course, and it will returns what? A boolean at the end of the day. So I want to check first of all. I want to make sure that I want to require that this person, msg.sender, is not the owner of what? Owner of this item. Do you understand that? Sometimes people may mistakenly want to order their own items. It's more like I'm selling coconut and I want to order for my own coconut. Does it make any sense? So I'm trying to make sure that this person that is requesting for this item is actually not the owner of the item itself. Okay? If not, I would just tell him that look, man, owner not allowed. You understand that? Yeah, so another one, before I request for an item, I want to check for the availability of that item. So I'm saying is available. Is this particular item that you're requesting for available? Item ID. Okay, if it is if what you are requesting is equal to available dot what? Yes. You understand? Then what? Then you should say what? If it is available, then you should proceed. But if it's not available, you should say what? Item, is item not available. Okay? So before you request for item, it must check if that item is available or not. So otherwise you can say requested want to register you as someone that has now requested for this item. So the msg.sender, and then we are actually looking for this. We want to register this particular item ID as what? That he has requested for it. So we say true. So this particular sender, we are registering him that this particular item he has requested for it. So we are passing true as what? The value for it. Okay, and after that we just want to what? Emit out an action, an event. So I could just copy this here, paste it here, and call this and call this time and call it this time is still open. You should understand, it's still what? Open, and item requested. That is what we can say. We can just change this thing. We can say item what? Requested. This is what? An action that says that. Okay, and lastly we can just return what? True. Fantastic. So this is what this function does, is to what? Place a request for what? An item. With that done, we want to create the next function. The next function is to approve requests. So now the buyer, because I'm not the only one requesting for this item, right? There are multiple people requesting for this item. So the buyer will get to approve a particular person to purchase the item. So this is a function, call it approve request. Okay, and this could be very fantastic if it's like a system where people are bidding bidding for an item at specific price. So you can just select the person that has the highest bid and approve that particular request of that person. But since this is not the case, you know, the seller of the item has to still approve for the particular person that he wants to what sell this item to, because he can't sell the same item to everybody at one time. So that is the idea about this approve request. So we can say item ID, okay, and then the address of the provider. So basically, this provider should be what we call the, you know, let's duplicate this. Let's call it buyer, okay, and then here we can come here and say this thing is what the buyer. So basically that is what the provider is talking about. So we want to what select the address that we want to what the address of the buyer that we want to approve, okay, for this item. Want to sell this particular item to this particular buyer. That is what we are trying to do here, like saying the approval thing. You understand? This is going to be public and it's going to return true, turns true after completion, turns booleans. Come on, boolean. Fantastic. And in returning boolean, I want to first of all check, require that this function require that, okay, it requires that the MSG, whomever that is trying to approve this transaction or this request, you understand, which is the sender, is equal to what? The owner of this particular item. So on that person, if you're not the owner of this item, you can't come and what approve, you know, approve for any buyer. You know, you can't come and say, I'm going to sell this thing to Amos when you are not the owner of that item. That is what it's saying. Okay, and then we can say only owner allowed. All right, so if you're not the owner, you're going to get this error, but if you're the owner, it's going to sail through. All right, we also want to check that what this item is what available. So I could just copy what I've already done before here. Say what, check for the availability of this item first before you approve for this person. Okay, and lastly, I want to check for this. Okay, you see the logic behind smart contract creation. Smart contract is basically very logical. Okay, so now I want to say requested. You know that requested is like an array of people that are requesting for items. So this buyer that has requested for this item, you know, this buyer, and say item ID. Okay, I want to approve. Okay, I want to say that I want to check if this buyer is on the list of people that are requesting for this item. Is this buyer on the list of people requesting for this item? If it's true, if it's true, it should say true. But if this buyer is not there, say buyer not on the list. You get that? So look at this place here. Look at here. This is requested, right? So in this requested, we have a mapping that every address of what we want to check. Like this is a buyer right now. We want to check if he has requested for this item. If he has requested for that item, it will be true. But if he hasn't, it will be what? False. So if he has not, that means he's not on the list. But if he has requested, that means he's on the list. That is just what we're simply stating here. Okay. Yeah. So finally, we can now proceed in. We're going to make this item now unavailable because it's now, want to make this item unavailable now, and we're going to change. We want to make sure that first of all, we're going to say item. These items, okay. I'm going to track it by the item ID. We're going to say this item that we are trying to approve for this buyer. Okay, we're saying dot the buyer. Okay, the buyer now is what? This particular buyer. So this, take a look at this. Take note of this item dot buyer. This dot buyer is actually coming from this place. Do you understand this thing here? So this item struct has a what? Buyer, a space for what? Who the buyer will be. Okay, so now we are saying that this buyer, we are assigning it whomever we're trying to sell this item to. Okay, that's what it means. And then after this, we're saying that the status, want to change the status, okay, of this particular item that we're trying to sell to be what? Status dot pending. Okay, so it's no longer open now, it's now what? Pending. And then lastly, want to what? Change, is available. Let me change that. The availability of this particular item, understand? Item ID. Okay, to be what? To be available dot no. Available dot no. Okay, so at this point now, once we are approving for this particular buyer, we are approving for this particular buyer, and when we are approving for this buyer, we don't want to make that item still available there. If not, people will still try to request for it, so that they no longer have to request for it, because a buyer has now been what has now been what is it called, has now been put into, has now been approved for. Do you understand that? So one thing you must know here is this request item here. Are you with me? Want to do something extra for it. Want to say it is payable. Okay, want to say that this request item is what? Payable. Why we are doing the making it payable? So that when you're requesting, okay, we don't want to make it payable right there. Okay, because that would be a little bit. Let's just take it a step after the other. We'll come back to that. Okay, so now here we are. Now let's emit an action. Okay, action that we're emitting, we're saying that what? This item has been what? Have been approved. Okay, and it's no longer open. Actually, it's now pending. Okay, that is status. And the person that executed this action is what? This message to sender. That is what we are clearly stating. Okay, so okay, now there is something now we need to update here. You see this create items, this function here. I want to explain a little thing for you so that you can have an understanding of what it's doing. So this create item, remember I told you about the purpose, right? So now let's say your name is called Miracle, and you want to what? You are living in New Zealand, and you want to what? You want to place an order. You want to put out an order for, let's say we're looking for an artifact, or let's say like an ancient artifact. So somebody let's say this Miracle is placing a request for a certain herbal medicine that anybody in the world can supply him that particular medicine. Do you understand? And he is willing to pay, he is willing to pay people a certain amount of money if they will what? Supply him this herbal medicine. That is what is going on here. That is what we are doing here, right here. You understand it? So now, all the people that can supply that medicine, they will now what? Request that he grants them what? Access, that he approves for them that they should be the one to what? Supply that item. That is what it simply is talking about in this place. You understand? So you understand the full story now. So there is a person that wants to what? That wants people to supply him a certain item, and then he places that item, and the cost that he's willing to pay for that item, he also specifies it, which is by this amount that we're stating here. I'm going to make a little modification right now. So, and now once he successfully creates this, sellers of this item all over the world, they will now place requests. Okay, I want to supply this and I want to supply this, and so like we have about 50 people wanting to supply him this item. So once they are on his list of people that wants to supply him this item, all you just need to what? Look for one person and what? Approve that this person should be the person to what? Supply me this item. Did you get it? Okay, and now the little modification I want to make here is that this amount here is going to be coming from a different, I'm still going to supply the amount, but it's going to come in a different way. How is it going to be different? I'm going to remove this. I'm going to make this a payable. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that we change this now. It's no longer going to be amount, but instead it's going to be, it's not going to be amount. Instead it's going to be msg.what? Value. Okay, so I want to say here msg.value is going to be greater than what? 0 ether. So what I'm simply saying here, however this person wants, the amount of money that this person is willing to pay for this item must not be less than what? 0 ether. Okay, so that becomes the amount of this particular item. So anybody that wants to, that is interested in supplying him this item, we first of all see, okay, this person wanting to buy this item at this particular price. I'm not interested in selling at this price. Those that are interested in selling for this price, they can now what? Place requests for that particular item. Do you get the entire gist now? Okay, so at the end of the day, what you need to do after this thing is to just what? Say, return to be what? True. Check it out. So you're done with that particular function. So the next function now we want to work on is called perform delivery. Perform delivery. So this is a function where whomever has been approved as what? The person to deliver this item will now what? Perform delivery. So for example, if he's going to send the item to the Escrow logistics team, and the Escrow logistics team are going to send the item to what? The person that wants that placed the order for this item. So once the person receives it, then the Escrow people are going to check this item as what's delivered. All right, so that is what is called perform delivery right here. And going to take in the item ID. Okay, and of course it's going to be public function, returns true at the end of the day, boolean. Okay, and we're saying that there are some certain things it must require. It requires that the msg.sender, okay, is equal to what? Items. Okay, and then I'm finding that particular item, and then I'm looking for the buyer, the approved buyer. Okay, so the person, okay, this perform delivery, okay, what we are saying is that the person that what, when you receive this item, you all you just need to do is what? Check, that this item has been delivered, right? So for example, if I send you, an Asian calabash, and then you actually received it, it's now for you to what? Verify, is to check, is to say that, okay, I've received this item. So you as the person that owns that item, that has received that item, now have to what? To perform, to execute this function. And one of the things that is checked why this function is being executed is if you are truly the one that owns this item, that has been approved to supply this item. Don't worry, you get the entire gist later, while I'm doing the testing. Okay, so now I'm saying public. Okay, sorry. If this person is not the approved buyer, okay, so it will say that you are not the approved buyer. So another person cannot come behind your back and actually receive your item. It's going to be you that we have to confirm that you received this item. That is what we're trying to specify here. We want to also specify. I want to make sure that this particular also requires that item and the item ID. Okay, so I want to item ID dot provided. Like this is a service that you're providing. So we're saying that okay, you have not delivered this thing already. Okay, so we want to make sure that this thing is undelivered yet. So if it's already delivered, we want to say service. Okay, I want to say you have already delivered this item. So for example, if you already delivered this item and you're trying to perform this function again, it should tell you that you've already delivered this item. So if, for example, this item has been confirmed already by the person that you delivered it to, so you can say you have already confirmed this item. So these are the 3 checks that we want to make before we proceed further. Are you following? Okay, so now if that is so, we want to now deliver this item. So we can say items, and then we target the item by ID, item ID, and then we say dot provided is equal to what? True. So you've actually provided the service now, the service of delivering this item to the person, and you want to change the status. Status is not going to be pending anymore. Instead, it's going to be what? Status. Can you guess? Dot what? Delivery. You understand this thing now? Yeah, so that is the status now. It's going to change from being pending to what? Delivery. And then now we want to also give it an action, like emit out an action, and the action that we're emitting is delivery. Let's say item delivery initiated. So this thing now is now on delivery, okay? And I want to change this from pending to what? Delivery. So this action, this thing is now on what? Delivery. That's what it simply means, okay? And then I'll just return true. Hope you're understanding the flow of this thing, how this thing is moving from one phase to another, just like that. That is just simply what we're doing here. You get that? So now we want to write on that function that we confirm the delivery. Okay, so we say function confirm delivery. Okay, in this function, what it does is to take the item ID, okay, and then provided, which is a Boolean key, provided. So provided will be a Boolean key. Okay, like you are as the one that's requested for this item. Once this item finally gets to me, it is my responsibility now to confirm that this item has gotten to me, which is by me saying, okay, yes, true, this item has gotten to me, or false, this item did not get to me. That is just what this particular function performs. So you say public, and then you say returns true Boolean at the end of the day once it finishes executing. So the first thing I want to do is to make sure that you are the owner of this item. Okay, so I'm going to paste this particular we actually have used it before here. So here we check, make sure that only owners are allowed to what? Owner of this like the one that requested for this item should be the one that actually posted this item or created this item should be the one that what confirms that this item has what been delivered to him or her. You understand that? Okay, and then another one is what? I also want to paste this one here. This one is saying that before we say that item, you understand, you have already, if this item has not, we want to make sure, before we make sure that the item has not already been provided for us, delivered. Otherwise, you should say what? The item already has been delivered. But this time around, I want to just remove this not here, and then we say that what? This, you have not, delivered this item. You get that? Okay, fantastic. And then we also want to make sure that this person did not confirm this particular what I mean by that, the status of this particular item is not refunded. That means this item has not been refunded before you confirm delivery, because some people may have in the process, before you get to the seller, maybe the person that requested for this item cancelled it or say, I'm no longer interested, please, false alarm, everybody should go back, I want my money back. So we want to make sure that it has not been refunded already. So that's why we're saying we're going to use this word items. We're going to track this thing. I'm going to say the status of it is not equal to what? Status dot what? Refunded. All right, it's not already, if it's not already refunded, if they've already refunded this item, you should say what? Item. Okay, we can say what? Already refunded. Create a new item instead. Okay, so that's just what we want to do. So with all this, with all these cautions that we've placed around this, we can now say if provided, because provided can either be true or false. So if provided is actually true, that is what I mean. If provided, then this is what you should do. So on sign integer, I want to calculate the fee that I'm going to charge. The platform is going to be charging for, for allowing this thing to pass through our escrow system. So we can say items, and then I pass in the item ID. Okay. And then I'll click on dot amount. So I want to find out the amount of this money. And then I'm going to what? Multiply it with what? The escrow fee. Okay. And then divide it by what? 100. This will give me the percentage that is due us as our fee. Okay. Are you with me? So now after doing that, I'm just going to what? Come here. I'm going to copy this function called pay to, which we used it in our recent development. That is this function. Do you remember this function? This function pays money to certain people. So now I want to invoke this function. I want to say pay to. All right, pay to. We say these items. Item ID. You understand? And then I'll say dot buyer. So this dot buyer basically is the person that is providing this, is supplying this particular item. We can all change this buyer. We can just change anywhere that we have buyer. We can just change it to supplier. Okay, I think that is a lot more streamlined way of stating it. Okay. Can say the supplier. Okay, supplier. So this, instead of saying buyer, we can say what? Supplier, because this person is actually supplying what? The item that you requested for to you. So we are saying that what item the what supplier. So the supplier that has been approved, okay, want to what get his account and then want to send him. Well, how much are we sending him? We are sending him his amount of money. So this item, so let's say on signing integer amount here, and I'm going to say this I'm going to say this amount here minus the fee. Okay, so now this is how much I'm going to send to what the person that supplied this item successfully. Did you get that? Okay, now after doing that, remember in this place, okay, this place here, whenever in this create item, whenever an item is created successfully, what I want to do at the end of the day, in the escrow, the escrow balance, you understand, I want to what increment it by msg.value. So however they gave us, I want to what increment it there. I want to add it there as okay, this is the amount of money that we have received. Well, I want to keep track of it. That is basically what I'm saying. Okay, like the person that is asking for a product is willing to pay a certain amount of money, right? A certain amount of money for what? That particular item. So I want to keep track of the total amount of money that he actually supplied us. That is what I'm saying there. Okay. So at the end of the day, after I pay this person, in fact, after I pay this person that provided this service, that supply this item, that is the supplier. After I paid him, the next thing I want to what? Remove, that is escrow balance. Remove that amount of money, okay, from what? That balance. That is this amount here. Okay, want to remove it there. Want to make sure that it put some checks and balance there. And then we don't want to also only do that. I want to now increment this one. Now I want to add it as our fee. Want to add our fee inside here so that we can know that okay, this is the amount of gains that we've made in this smart contract. This money, this escrow available balance belongs to us and doesn't belong to one customer or the other. Okay, so that is simply what I'm doing there. So the next thing I want to do is to what? Change the status of this item from, I want it to be what? Confirmed. So you've confirmed that you've received your item that you requested for, confirmed to be true, and then the status. Okay, so status now is going to change from whatever status it was before to what? Confirmed. You understand that? And then want to increment total confirmed items to what? By 1. Want to increment that total confirmed items to be what? By 1. Else, if this item is for some reason not provided, let's say the supplier did not supply this item, okay, then I want to change, what I want to do basically is to come here and say and change. No, I want to change the status from whatever it is to what? Disputed. Do you understand this thing now? So that means the person did not what? Supply this item. So for such reason, this item now has to go into what? The status of what? Disputed. Did you get that? And then I want to emit my regular the regular this thing. Sorry. Okay, that is here now. So I want to emit that this item, okay. So basically, sorry. So here, if it is confirmed, say I want to emit this one and call it items, item what? Confirmed. Okay, we're coming to the finish line of this particular build. So otherwise, if it is disputed, I want to what? Emit this particular one called item disputed. Okay, and because these status are going to change to what? Disputed and not delivered. And okay, this one is going to change to confirmed. Right? Why this one becomes what? Disputed. And then at the end of the day, I want to what? Return true. Okay, as a sign that this function successfully executed. So lastly, or second to last function, this one is going to be simple. This function is called refund item. Okay, refund item. So now let's say this item is disputed. It's now up to the person that posted this item to take his money back. Okay, so in doing that, he has to call this function called what? Item, refund item. Right, so he has to pass the item ID. This is also going to be public and returns true at the end of the day. Returns boolean. So let's do that. So first thing first, there is only the Escrow account can actually refund items that are what? Disputed. Do you understand that? So we want to make sure that we say require that whomever is calling this function, which is this msg.sender, is equal to what? The Escrow account officers. Okay, otherwise you're telling that only Escrow what? At Escrow admin allowed. Okay, fantastic. So we also want to check out another one, which is what? Want to make sure that this person that is trying, this item has not already been delivered. Okay, so in doing that, it's very simple. All we just need to do is to what? Just copy and paste what we've already done before. We want to check that this item, has not already been provided for. That means this person has not already received this item that we are trying to refund. So it's just an extra measure of check to make sure that the right payments are being made to people. So if this thing passes this criteria, now let's send the money back to what? The owner. So by how we do that is by saying what? Items, and then you pass the item ID. Okay, and then you say .owner, because this is the person that created this item. You want to send the money, the money that he actually used in posting this as the reward for whomever brings in this item. So we want to say items, okay, and then say item ID, and then I say what? Amount. This is the amount of money that he posted this, and I want to send it back to him. Okay, and after doing that, I'm going to say the escrow balance. I'm going to minus that particular amount of money from it. So basically this is the amount of money. So the escrow balance is not going to be is going to reflect the new balance now after that. And then lastly, I want to mark this item as instead of disputed, now it's now refunded. You understand? Because I've successfully refunded the amount, and then I want to increase the total disputes by 1. So that means we've recorded that in this platform we've actually gotten about 1 or 2 disputes, and then after you've done this, emit this thing, say refunded. You get that, and then the state is going to be refunded. Of course, this particular item has been refunded, and of course return true at the end of the day. And lastly, for the function I want to create here is called the withdraw function. That means we, the escrow platform. This is our own function that we use in withdrawing money that are available to us, or from all the fees that we've been charging. Okay, that is what this particular one is for. So we say function withdraw fund. Okay, and in withdrawing fund, I pass the address, that is which account do I want to withdraw this money to, which is what I mean by what to, and then the amount of money that I want to withdraw, which is what I will term amount here, and then I make sure that this is public, and this returns what? True boolean at the end of the day, in stating that it actually went through successfully. So now I want to make sure that only Escrow members are allowed to withdraw money from this smart contract. So I do that by doing this. This kind of defeats the purpose of this reentrancy guard, okay, because it's not really needed anymore. So I'm just going to remove it here, because I'm performing that operation automatically by myself by adding these restrictions to make sure that only the Escrow members are allowed to withdraw funds from this smart contract. So and lastly, I want to also check this particular criteria. I want to make sure that the amount of money that I'm trying to withdraw, you understand, is not 0 ether, because what's the point of withdrawing 0 ether? So, but that is not really important. But the amount of money that I'm trying to withdraw is less than or equal to what the available balance in the escrow. Okay, so that you're not going to withdraw more than what we have. You can, okay, otherwise, if the amount you are trying to withdraw, you can say insufficient fund. Fund. Okay, so this will make them understand that there's not enough money, to cater for this amount of money that they are trying to withdraw. All right, so with that stated, the next thing you want to do now is to pay to. You understand? You are making payments now. Send it to that particular address, which is the tool, and then also send the amount that was specified, and then also make sure you recalibrate the available balance to reflect the real value now. So we say amount has been removed from the available balance, and then lastly we emit our event and say what do we say here right now? I'm going to change this item. Let's say we're going to put this ID 000, or we're going to change this ID because we are not actually referencing a product or an item. So let's just use a random number called log.timestamp, okay, in to represent this action right here. Okay, and then in fact, let's just remove this emit because it's not necessary. It doesn't really doesn't really suit well to this particular function, so we don't want to have it there. So with that we've finished all the codes that are responsible for for creating an escrow smart contract in Solidity. Hope you understand what we just did, because we are now going to go and test it out in the Remix ID to validate that it works fine. All right, so are you ready? All right, so let's get into the mix. Now on the Remix ID, what I want you to do is to create that smart contract. Right click on the contract folder, a new contract, call it escrow.so, because we want to test this thing out and make sure that all our code is bug free. So you paste it here. Once you do that, you come to this tab and click compile. If there is error, it's going to show you, like for example, it has detected error here, and the error that is detected is saying that we are supposed to use a parenthesis for defining uh, for defining the action instead of brace. So let's change this instead of this, change it to this. All right, and then click Ctrl Save. It's just gonna drop that. This is called Constructor. Constructor. What is it saying? Saying it's supposed to, this particular line is supposed to end with semicolon right here, because it's not ending. That's why it's affecting this here. So when we save that, see it goes away. So anywhere that we find, you know, anywhere we find this, we gotta just replace them all with parentheses. Okay, this is why it's very important that you test your code, and that was on. Whereas, so there's many other places that this thing is still found an error here. Let's change this, make sure that it is what, it is parentheses. So we're going to just change all that for all of this. Well, change this for that. Okay, semicolon, change this and end with semicolon. This as well, end with semicolon. Okay, that's the next one. That's quite a lot of function. Why there's just so many functions about this is because this is a big project. Like, if you are given the task of doing this, it's going to be huge. Like, let's save this so we're having more, you know, things to look at. Like on line 84, let's come here, line 84. This is not supposed to be total items L, you understand? It's supposed to be just total items. So when you save that, it goes away. Come to line 9, you find that what is it saying here? It's saying that owner of undeclared identifier. Do you mean owner of? You know, here we're actually supposed to be using owner of, not owner. Understand? So that's why it's freaking out. So it's compiling now, and it's compiled successfully. Errors have been gone, and this is showing check mark now. So the next thing is to deploy it to this network. So I'm just gonna choose any network here. So let's specify the percentage. Let's use 5% commission. It's gonna go into our Escrow available balance whenever a particular item is delivered successfully, is confirmed in this platform, you know. So now let's deploy it. It's deployed, and I check here. These are all the functions that we created in this platform. There's quite a lot of them. So now let's create an item. Okay, I'm going to come here, select a different account here, and I'm going to come and say create an item. Let's say bring me a Caribbean spell this Caribbean tea. All right, Caribbean tea right there. And how much am I willing to pay for this task? I'm willing to pay 1 ether. Let's say 3 ethers. That is how much I'm willing to pay here. So let's create this, create that, and it went successfully. So when we say get items, so you see that that item has been listed as part of the items that are available. So with this now, let's come here and let's have some people requesting. Let's say here, this is one supplier. A supplier is coming to this place and saying that request item. So this supplier is saying, I want this is item ID 0. So let's say get item, supply the item ID which is 0. Okay, so this item here that we just created now. So this item I want to request to be one of what the supplier. Okay, so I say transact, and you know that has been listed there. So now if I come, if I come to item, so now they requested, so I pass in my address here, requested this particular person. I want to check if this person has requested to be a possible supplier. So this address, and for a particular listing, this order, I see that is true. So he has requested to be a supplier for this item. Let's say we are using a different person. Let's say different account here, bring it back, and then let's check if this person requested to be a supplier or not. Pass in the call, see that it's false here. So we use that to monitor the people that are interested in being a supplier. So I check a different account, and then I come here, copy that, and then also request here, and it has been recorded in this list now. When I pass here and call, see that this person has also been listed among the people that wants to be the supplier of this item. So now with that passed, next thing I want to do is approve this person. This for item, this particular item. First of all, okay, this item, and then I want to approve for this particular supplier. So when I click on transact, it fails because only the owner is allowed. So who is the owner of this particular item? I come here, the owner is definitely this person here. Okay, and then now let's approve that request of this person. See, it is approved now. So this person now, when we come and check here, before you can see that the supplier, the approved supplier for this particular person, it was hidden. It was actually 0x. No, so it was like a placeholder. Nobody has been approved for to being the supplier of this item. So now when I check this get this item now, see that this person is now the supplier, this person that have been approved. Fantastic. So now this person now cannot go on and perform delivery of this item. So come here, click on this is the item. Now let's perform delivery. So it's saying that you are not the approved supplier. So we need to use the approved supplier's address, which is this person here. So when I come here, select that and click on transact. See that it went through because that person was the approved supplier. So he has performed the delivery process. So now the owner of the item is supposed to now confirm this confirmed delivery of this item. So I will pass, this is the item, the owner of this item, if I am the owner, and then I want to pass true. Okay, and then I click on transact. It say owner only allowed, so I have to change this account to the owner of this particular item. So I come here and then I click on transact. You see it went through successfully, and then with that done, you can see that the amount of money that this person, this is the person that created this item, this is the owner of the item, and now you see that this person here has now received about 0.2 point something ethers, received 93% of the fund that was performed. So, and then the escrow balance, we actually, if you check the escrow balance now, available balance, let's check it out here. So this is the escrow account. this is the balance. The balance has actually been emptied because only one payment has been made, and then the available balance, you see that we have this particular 1.5 over 1.5, just around that, this amount of money that is what available for us to withdraw. So now let's try to withdraw this money. So to withdraw this money, we have to call up this function. Let me close out all these other ones that are not anymore. So I'm just going to show you how this thing works right now. So we come to withdraw fund. Okay, so I want to withdraw this fund to, I want to withdraw it to this particular account, second to the last account. Okay, I want to withdraw it to the second to the last account, and let's say I'm trying to perform this transaction from this account that is not the escrow account. So I paste this here, and then I specify that I want to withdraw the entire thing here, or let's say 500 of it, and let's click on perform. Say only escrow admin allowed. So now, because that is not an administrative account, let me change it to here. Now let's perform this again, withdraw to that fund. It went successfully. Now let's check the balance. The balance is only one remaining, and let's check the amount. You see that this second to last received 0.5 ethers. So that is 0.05 ethers. That is how all this process, this escrow processes works. And I hope that you got a ton of value from it and it's not that confusing. I'm going to paste this code so that you can study it and go through it one after the other and replicate it, test it out on Remix, use it to build a DApp even. That would be fantastic. I would like to see you do that. So if you got value from this tutorial today, I would like you to hit that subscribe button, like and share, and click the notification button, and I'm going to see you in the next tutorial.